Hi, I'm Debbie Torres, and this is Behind the Scenes. Welcome back. Today, I want to talk about something that I feel is a little more maybe secretive than it should be. Maybe not intentionally, but it's just not talked about as often as it should be, especially from HR teams or even your boss, depending on the type of boss you have. I want to talk about how to get a promotion at work, what to do, how to take that into your own hands, take control of it, and not leave that fate up to somebody else. Okay? There are basically three parts or three aspects of job promotions that you should be aware of. First is no one is really thinking about you. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I just mean that usually in the hustle and bustle at work, your promotion and what's going on in your life with your specific career goals are not usually top of mind for your boss. Your boss is usually worried about the everyday tasks. They're worried about achieving their goals. They're worried about whether or not you're doing your part in helping them achieve their goals or keep business running. People are not truly thinking about necessarily you or what it is you want with your career. There are rare cases where there are managers who do care and take time for those discussions, but it is very rare. So if you're one of the people who has a boss who, you have goals and you're not sure that that boss is paying attention, or you've never had a discussion about your career aspirations and what it is that you might need to do to get there, then here are some tips on how to have that conversation and what to bring into that conversation with them. Okay, so number one, if you're going to set up a meeting with your boss to have this discussion, I would do it outside of a typical one-on-one situation. Usually typical meetings at work between a boss and employer to go through work tasks. Ask your boss if you can have a specific meeting about your career alone, and just let them know that you want to get their advice on a few things. It would be very helpful if before that meeting you set an agenda and that you keep it simple. When I say set an agenda, it's just give them a heads up of where your head is before the meeting, and make sure you do your homework before that meeting as well. Once you set up the meeting with your boss to talk about your career, make sure that you do your homework and make sure you let them know what it is you want to talk about. Give them an agenda, be specific about that agenda, but keep it very simple. And the things that you need to cover are, one, be very specific about what you're looking for in terms of guidance for your career. The second thing is let them know specifically where you want to head from a career trajectory. List a position, I want to be a senior manager of this, I want to be a director of this. Be very specific. It's not good to come to a meeting like this just saying, I want to be promoted. Of course, everyone wants to be promoted. Everyone wants to make more money for doing the same thing that they're doing, but that's not what this discussion is. And if you come into that discussion with that frame of mind and with those words, it's going to fall flat and it's not going to be looked on very well. And what's going to come out of that is that the impression is going to be that you want more money to do the same thing or less than what you're doing today. And that's not the right tone that you're trying to set with this meeting. With this meeting, you're trying to gather information on what is it that I need to do to get from point A to B. So be very specific about what you want, that you want to get advice on what am I missing in terms of my existing skill set. Maybe you're not missing an existing skill, but you're missing time and you need more experience that only time can give. It could be a variety of things, but let your boss know that you're looking for what's the difference between where I am today from a skills perspective to where I need to be to get to this next promotion level that I'm interested in. If your boss did not specifically hire you into the role that you're in, there's a good chance that they've never seen your job history and they've never viewed your resume before. So when you set up the meeting, after you ask if you can set the meeting up and they agree, send them your resume and just say, hey, here's some background on my history. I want you to have this available because it's going to aid in our discussion. They likely have not looked at your resume if they did not hire you. So give them the opportunity to take a look at your history. It will help them understand you better, and it'll give a nice baseline for them to work from when they go to give you advice as to what you need to do on the next level. Another thing to keep in mind is don't just focus on tasks, because yes, as you advance in your career, you do need to be good at tasks, but you also need to develop out your social and emotional skills, your soft skills along the way. And so include it in the discussion to find out what else it is you might need to do. For example, it could be presenting in front of other people. Maybe you haven't had opportunities to do that. Maybe there are some forums that perhaps you could practice in, upcoming meetings, et cetera, that you could volunteer for to get that experience. So just don't leave out the soft skill portion, because that becomes increasingly more important the higher in ranks you go. So that would be what to discuss with your boss. Now, not all bosses are going to really be good at telling you exactly what to do. Many of them haven't had somebody come ask them very specific questions about how do I get from point A to B, or if they have, there's probably a lot of them that just don't know how to answer it. If that is the case, and if your boss can't answer those questions, it doesn't mean that you're left with nothing. What it means then is that you need to then take control and look elsewhere for that advice. And that's perfectly fine. That's where mentors come in. And so the way that you address trying to get this information from a mentor is the same way that you would with your boss. Which leads me to item number 2. If you get nowhere with your boss, then what you want to do is look around in your company. If you have no one in your company, look around on LinkedIn. Find somebody who has the job title that you're interested in. Basically, somebody doing the job that you're interested in having. And then ask if you can set up time with them. Once you set up time with them, which everyone that I know of who has done this has tried this, no one has ever refused to meet with a person who just wants to seek advice. So don't be afraid, don't be shy. Just, shoot them an email, send a request. Hey, would you mind spending a half hour with me? I'm interested in doing something like what you're doing, and I just want to understand a day in the life, what it is you do from a day-to-day basis. And from there, once they accept that invitation and you set that meeting up, provide a similar agenda to that person. Come to that meeting knowing what you want, and really just ask, what is a day in the life like for you? I want to understand this. I think I'm interested in pursuing this career or this next step in my career. If it is just more of the same, of course, if it's more of the same, then just ask, what's the difference between what you're doing today and what I'm doing? Just share ideas, exchange it. It kind of operates like an interview. Have that discussion and see what they say. It's just amazing what you can learn in half an hour from someone. Again, figure out what the difference is between where you are and where they are, and then take that gap and then start to figure out, how can I get those experiences to round out my experience? Some ways that you can get experience without having to get a different job to get that experience is to look around for projects that are going on in your company that you can volunteer for. You could talk to people that hold maybe regular forums or regular meetings where decisions are made, and you could ask permission, can I attend this meeting so that I can start to learn how these things are done? So for example, I've used this approach with many people who I've helped get promoted over the last 15, 20 years, and simply being exposed to how something works is experience. Of course, it's better if you're the one making decisions, you're the one executing on it. But in areas where you need the exposure so you understand something more in depth, but you're likely not ever going to be the person to directly be engaged in a process, this can work fine. Most people, if they understand that you just want to get that information from a career growth perspective, you're not there to interject an opinion or do whatever, they're usually very open to having additional people sit in. If you can join projects that are ongoing that give you opportunity to, speak in front of groups or manage larger scale projects, or just get experience to how larger scale projects are run, depending on what it is that you're interested in. What you're targeting here is the major transferable skill that's associated with that next level you're trying to go to. And that's what it is that you want to add to your resume. So once you have your list and you start working through that list, and you're rounding out your experience, which is going to take time. It happens a lot faster than you would think. It's probably, though, a 6 to 12 month commitment, depending on the amount of skills that you need to add to be able to go to the next level. Once you've done that, make it known even before this with your boss that you are working on closing the gap between where you are to the next level. Make it known. There's only one time of year for most companies, only one time of year anyone looks at whether or not they're going to promote somebody. It's decided mid to October of the year prior to the year that the promotion actually happens. And it's when people are in their financial planning process for the following year. Every single promotion is planned for in advance. It's not surprise. It should not be a surprise at all to you. There should be communication about it coming to you. And if not, it very well could be the case that you are outpacing the company's ability to promote you, which happens many times, especially if you are the type of person who's very aggressive in learning skills and getting experience and getting involved and just truly understanding your craft, whatever that is, or your industry. If that's the case, or when that's the case, you will oftentimes outpace the company's ability to keep up with you from a promotion standpoint. And that's when you will want to go outside of your company and look for another role. I have been working with people, mentoring them using these methods for 15 plus years, and I have a wonderful promotion rate using this exact formula to close the gap between where the person is today and where they want to go. And I've seen person after person, 98% success rate with people who have promoted into the next role and then to the next one and next one. Once you have the skill and you've done it once, you know how to do it again and again and again. And I will say that one thing to keep in mind is that the newer you are in your career, the faster the promotions can come because there's less technical information to learn at lower levels. And then as you move forward, it's going to naturally hit a point where it's going to take a little bit longer than you're used to get promoted. And that's normal and natural, just because one, the skills they're harder to obtain as you're moving along. They're more complex. The soft skills come in, strategy comes in, communication is a big deal. There are a lot of nuances that affect your ability to promote at a certain point. That doesn't mean that it's not possible. It just slows down a little as you move forward. In my experience, if you are being aggressive and you're taking control of your career and you're making strategic moves when it's time, you should be promoting in the 2.5 to 3 year time frame. That's what I've seen. That's what I've personally seen. It's what I've seen with people that I've mentored, and then others who have also been very aggressive with their career. Now, it might be industry specific. It might have something to do with the types of jobs that you're interested in, right? The more challenging the job, or maybe less attractive to multitudes, there might be more opportunity for you to get in and promote quicker in those types of situations. That's an approach that I took earlier in my career. I took the job that no one wanted, and so it made it a lot easier for me to move from one phase to the next. But even with that, I did usually hit a 2.5 year mark promotion timeframe. So just keep that in mind. It does take some work, but you can take it into your own hands. But the most important thing when it comes to promotion is making yourself known and being specific about what it is you want, and then closing that gap. Get an expert to tell you exactly what that gap is so that you can close it. Then start working on it. And from there, just be confident that you've got the skills you need to move to the next role. And I wish you all the best with that, with your career. I'll see you next time. Bye.